So, what's interesting, and I'll touch on in the African American community, Black men were not, taught
emotional intelligence,
intelligence and safety. And when you think about, intimacy, or call it beyond sex, if you will, and these psychological dynamics that men deal with, how do we decipher the two? How do we find ways to come back to where, because sometimes, I guess when men, they feel like they are, being intimate or what have you, it becomes, I don't know, a form of therapy, if you will, but it's almost like you're continuing to lie to yourself.
Yeah, and
if that makes sense.
And it's transactional a lot of times too. Going back to like what you're saying now in your first question, it's especially if you're a successful Black man in America, there's survivor's remorse.
Yeah.
I have to bring everybody with me. I can't be too bougie. I can't do too many things. I can't show off too much because I got to remember where I came from. I have to grab everybody else, and it's heavy. Everybody's on your back and it's heavy. So to kind of say what you were saying as well too. So if we all train to climb Mount Everest, we've trained for this, just like you were saying, it's modeled, we've trained for it. So all three of us know how to climb Mount Everest. Maybe your spouse doesn't. Maybe your friends, your family, your cousin doesn't. So you're dragging them up a mountain, which is already hard enough to climb. But then you're wondering why they're stopping midway. They didn't train for this. They're not built for this. Everybody can't go. And that doesn't mean that they're meaningless. That just means they haven't trained to climb this mountain. You can stay at the base. If you want training, I can show you how. But until you ask for the training, until you want the training, it's okay for you to
look what you just said.
top.
You just said, if you want the training.
Yes.
And so the reality is that so many men don't take the initiative to have the want, the desire, right, to change. Like here's the water, and I'm bringing you, here it is. But I can't drink this for you. Right.
Correct.
And so it's like that cycle continues. And then what happens is that seed is planted into their children and children's children. And that
And it
cycle
repeats.
It's in the genetic code. It's scientifically proven. It's passed down. There are Holocaust survivors that their children still feel what their parents, their grandparents felt. So it is genetically passed down. So if you don't want to pass that down to somebody else, you want to hand that off, you have to cure yourself. You have to go in and say, even if it's uncomfortable, even if Melvin's got, he's got all the things that I want, what is stopping you from saying, hey bro, how did you get to where you are? When your clients come, how did you get to where you are? That is the scariest thing, because that means that I need help and I don't have it. And I've been taught that I have it. I've been taught that I should have it. My 14-year-old daughter is asking her suitors what they're making. I was like, you guys are all poor. You're 14. You're all poor. None of you have money. Nobody has the bag. You're poor. Even the money that we have, this is my money. You're poor. So these are the things that you are being taught. And you're like, wait a minute. This 16-year-old, 14, 15-year-old boy already has all this pressure. So now it's like, where's the space?
The expectation.
Just like you're saying, there's an expectation. Where's the space? And especially for us, it's a hard space to say, what do I have? I've got to be 6'7". I got to do all these things. Look, everybody knows I got to do all these things. But where's the space for, just like you said, for me to say, it's been a tough day. I need a safe space to land. And if they don't have a safe space to land, kind of like the people that you are helping, the high achievers, they go, well, I'm going to go get a distraction, whether it's drugs, whether it's women, whether it's alcohol. There's a distraction that happens because you weren't taught or modeled anything other than what
but
you
see,
have.
this is what's interesting, because some, many can say, well, it's easier said than done. And, you have no idea what I'm dealing with, the thoughts that I have, and so on and so forth. And I guess it's, how do we help them think about it different? Can we talk about the thought? That's how do we work to decrease that 70%? The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he in his heart. Right? So the man is thinking these thoughts, and as he's thinking these thoughts, he begins to speak these thoughts, right? And what you speak becomes power. The Bible says, you speak life and death out your tongue. So you're speaking your life into existence.
Correct.
And so I guess it's how do we help decrease that 70%?
Love this. Well, there are so many layers here. Number one, I think all of us in this room can agree we all went through horrible things. I left my country at 19 to a country where I didn't speak language of, no help. at some point there has to be a desire within the individual where you have a wake-up call and you finally realize, I can't keep going this way. This is too painful. And when you say men don't reach out for help, I have to say, all of us, I would say women as well, we wait until it's so painful that we can't ignore it. I wish it was different. I wish. But we can't convince people. I've learned that myself because I'm a helper, you're a helper. I think we all want to lift and elevate people. But what I've realized is I can guide you, but I cannot drag you.
That's right.
And if I drag you, you will still refuse. So there has to be a will and desire within the individual. What I see with people, fortunate and unfortunate, it has to get so bad. The pain has to be so painful that finally the change is more desirable than staying in the pain.
Sometimes it may be too late.
Sometimes, but that's okay. And that means maybe that was God's plan. Maybe you were supposed to get to the divorce. Maybe you were supposed to get the cancer. And I'm not saying it lightly, but I have clients where women hire me first and they tell their husbands, you need help. And I always say to women, do your own work. Notice if he follows. Notice if he, without telling him, you change yourself first. And some men follow. They see their wives change and they think, wow, now I desire of myself to be a better leader of my household, right? I can make all the money, but how do I lead my family? But some men, the only way they show up to the call with me is when the wife says, I'm not angry, I'm not spiteful, but I'm done if you don't do anything. When a woman becomes unbothered,
that's a dangerous spot.
That's a dangerous spot to be with.
When a woman's fed up.
Because you know what? Women, we are givers. Like you are givers too, but we are in different ways givers. And I think women are very patient. Sometimes we are too patient. And what happens is when a woman is done, there's not much left. And we understand it's easier on our own if you don't do this work. And I will not force you. But this is your choice. You're going to be this man or you're going to stay the man you are. And it's up to you. And I love you. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm literally done.
Indifference is scary.
Indifference, that is scary. And that's where sometimes some men call me and I said, oh, where have you been, sir? Where very gently with acceptance say, what happened? Did you know, are we at the end of the rope right now? And that's sometimes what it takes, unfortunately.
Yes.
So, you know what's interesting about that because, and I'll speak on, call it, you know, high achieving men and women that are married or what have you. But quite frankly, they could have similar things that will result to triggers.
Always.
Right? Similar things that relate to triggers. And I guess, and that's interesting because it's almost like, you know, they said within marriage, you know, you should be, you know, equally yoked and in a line and what have you. And so, but when you think about triggers, it's like you may trigger, something may trigger you, but you may respond to it differently, right? So the male may respond a certain way, you will. And it creates this clash, right?
But you know why? But you know why it happens?
Why it happens?
Because you attract a partner who will trigger all the parts of you that are unhealed.
It's a mirror. It's a mirror effect.
It's a mirror.
I like that.
It's a mirror.
Say that one more time.
Yes.
You said what?
Red flags feel like home.
Oh.
Okay.
What is a mic? Can I drop a mic?
That was, look.
Yeah.
Can I drop a mic?
It's exactly, that's why. And I say people don't like to be triggered. I love to be triggered because I say every trigger is an invitation for healing and elevation. So it shows.
Stay there for a second because, and I teach people this because elevation requires separation.
Yes.
You got to separate from those thoughts. You got to separate from your
yesterday. You have to figure out where they are in order to separate for them.
Exactly.
Yes.
So now it's the idea, we're trying to help you understand where you are so you can separate from your yesterday.
But also from blaming your partner and understanding that your partner is showing you a pattern.
And that's
all what it is.
That's saying really is a pattern because it's a vibration. You can't turn on a radio station and listen to jazz and hip hop at the same time unless Kendrick Lamar. But it's like, what are you going to hear? It's static. You're going to hear static. So it's whatever your frequency is bringing in. So if at the time, just like you're saying, your partner is, we both meet and we're at a 5, it's a mirror. But then if one partner goes to an 8 or a 9 and you're still at a 5, there's going to be a lot of space in the middle to where you go, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah.
I elevated. My frequency went up. Would you like to join me? And that's when those husbands or wives, they come to me as well too and go, hey, so they're speaking from pain. I don't want to be this guy, but I literally wrote a chapter in my book about it. And it's a pain language.
Yeah.
So everyone talks about love language, and this is a pain language. So we don't necessarily hear the pain languages from people a lot of times. It's all about, oh, I need my 5 love languages. Yeah, but there's also pain languages, because when you react, that's your pain language. You had an argument with somebody, that's a pain language. It's a pain point, because you have stepped on a mind. And when you step on that mind, boom, trauma explodes in someone's face. And you might not necessarily want to do it. But just like you said, this triggered me. Then that creates 2 people to say, are we safe enough to say, you triggered me? Are we safe enough to say, hey, this is where all the minefield is. Can we walk through this minefield together and maybe clip some of these wires and throw them in the back? You know, that's my Marine Corps brain coming up. But these are the triggers and the things that you need to know. What is your pain language? Not what your love language is, because anybody can love you. I need to know how you react when you're stressed, when money's not coming the way it's supposed to, when I say something that your father said, when my face turns like your mom did, when something happens that happened in your childhood. Let me know your pain language. And that's the way I know how to love you deeper. And then I could tap into your love languages after I figure out what has happened.